On September 4, 2023 was Jason David Frank's birthday, and many fans on social networks showed their positive messages towards the actor. As many already know, this actor played Tommy Oliver, the Green Ranger in Mighty Morphin, and who also had many different powers. This Ranger is known as the Legendary Ranger and was an icon in the Power Rangers franchise. Sadly, he passed away in November 2022, and this is why all the positive messages that fans were writing for his birthday were so special. One of the people who wrote a positive message was Jonathan Entwistle, who is now in charge of the reboot of the Power Rangers franchise, and his message got us all thinking. He basically said that it's a real shame that he will never get to see the legacy of Tommy Oliver. A character so iconic that he is the center of everything to come. He said this referring to the actor, since, due to his passing, he won't get a chance to see Tommy Oliver's legacy. This is somewhat confusing, but very clear at the same time, since Jason was able to see Tommy Oliver's legacy during these 30 years. If we analyze it this way, then the message may confuse you, but when you read the second sentence it all makes sense. A character so iconic that he is the center of all that is to come. The person who knows everything that is to come is Jonathan, so this could mean that Tommy Oliver will be the main character of the reboot and he is going to be the center of everything. If this is real, then all the rumors that the reboot is going to have a new story and without using old characters, totally collapses. With this message we can almost confirm that they are going to use old characters in the reboot, and maybe we can see Mighty Morphin again. This is something that brings a lot of possibilities, because even though Jonathan almost confirms Tommy as the main character, still, this doesn't mean that the other characters will be the same as Mighty Morphin. Maybe everything will have a new story and the only character we know is Tommy, but maybe the other members of the team will be new characters. Another thing they can also do is to use old characters, but from other seasons, and form a completely different team. For example, choose Tommy Oliver as the leader of the team, but also have other Rangers from other seasons like Jen, Amelia, Gia, and other Rangers to form a new team. It would be like seeing characters we already know but forming a new team with new powers. I honestly don't know if this would work, since we are possibly always going to think that those other Rangers belong to other teams and not this new team. Because of this, I think there are only two options left, and one of these is the most likely of all. The first one is that Tommy Oliver is going to have a new team, and this whole new universe will be based on a new history of the character. Basically, it would be like giving the character a reboot and just using his name. Possibly also use some features, since that's what makes the character so beloved, and we wouldn't just have a familiar name. If they give the character's story a reboot, then we would have other new characters, a new team, and maybe the whole feel of the Power Rangers is going to change. For now, we know that the Power Rangers stories are based on monsters from other planets that want to invade Earth, and the Rangers always destroy them. Within all these stories there are things that are repeated, such as the monsters becoming giants, the melee battles, the Zords, the weapons, and the transformations. Basically, this has always been the essence of the franchise, and we don't know if by changing the whole story, these things will also change. Changing all this does not mean that the project is going to be a failure, because maybe they can create other things that fans can also love, but it will mean that the essence of the Power Rangers will no longer be there, and the only thing that will remain will be the name of the franchise. The other option they have is to use all the Mighty Morphin characters, but this also has two other options, since, despite being a new universe, they are using old characters that already have a history. The first option when using the entire Mighty Morphin team is to create a new story for each character so that everything is different and the only thing they use are the names along with the character's characteristics. Basically, the same thing they would do if they used Tommy only and with a new story. This is actually something that already happened, since in the 2017 movie we had the same Mighty Morphin characters, but the biggest difference they had is that they completely changed the characteristics of the characters. They basically just used the names and the same colors, but everything else was different. Every character in this movie had a different personality from the original character, and possibly this is what made this movie so different, but at the same time it was what caused it to be a failure. The problem with changing the personality of an already known character is that if you love the character the way he is, then by changing his personality you are going to hate him. Tommy Oliver's personality is one of my favorites, so imagine Tommy Oliver with the same personality he has always had but played by another actor and with the opportunity to be in a super production with excellent special effects. This is the same thing that could happen with the entire Mighty Morphin team, because despite being such legendary Rangers, they still never had the opportunity to be in a super production. Many are going to say that they were in the special episode, but even though that project had very good effects, still, it doesn't compare to a super production. We don't know if the reboot is going to have an adequate budget to create a super production and be able to compete with big monsters like Marvel. If the producers are aiming to conquer a more adult audience, then they should turn the whole Power Rangers universe into a super production. The second option they have in using the entire Mighty Morphin team has a lot to do with becoming a super production, is that they could also use the original story of the series but add some changes to make it a darker story. Basically, the same thing they do in the comics, since they started using the original story, but from another angle, and at the same time started creating a new universe. This worked very well in the comics and could also work in the new series, as we could see again the characters we already know fighting with old and new problems. This way we could see a Mighty Morphin team with awesome costumes, amazing special effects, and possible epic transformations. At the same time, we could also see characters like Rita Repulsa in a different and spectacular way. The new Power Rangers universe has a lot of options, and it's very easy to get it wrong since it's such a fan-loved franchise. Still, I think having Tommy Oliver as a major player in the whole new concept has been a very good decision, but obviously there will be many fans who think differently. Write in the comments if you agree that Tommy Oliver's character will be used again in the reboot, like this video, and subscribe to know more about the Power Rangers.